The final season of Game of Thrones is upon us, and I'm in serious denial. But winter is finally here, which means this guy and his insanely large, creepy army of the dead will be major players in the final season. We know a little bit about whites, a little bit about White Walkers, but we know very little about who the Night King is and what he really wants. But luckily, we have the internet, and there are some pretty dope Night King theories out there. One seriously blew my mind, so you'll definitely want to consider them as you prepare your mind for April 14th. Before we unleash the full force of winter on you though, go down and click subscribe, please. If enough of you do, I might be able to convince my bosses to let me only make Game of Thrones videos for the next few months. Also, there will be spoilers. This is your warning. If you aren't caught up on Game of Thrones, you should get out. I'm gonna assume if you're watching this, you already know how the Night King plays into the current plot, so let's just jump right into theories. The idea that Bran Stark is actually the Night King is probably the most popular theory on this list, but it's also the most ridiculous, in my opinion, but I will explain it anyway. So, we already know Bran can travel back in time as the Three-Eyed Raven, and that he can even influence events that he wargs back to see. Some fans think Bran will use this ability to try and stop the Night King in the present, by rewriting history. Reddit user Turmoil26 explains that he'll have to attempt to do this multiple times. He'll first go back and warn the Mad King Aerys Targaryen to stop King's Landing full of wildfire to be used to destroy the White Walkers, or burn them all! But this fails and results in the Mad King going crazy because he just hears Bran's whispers, like Ned did briefly in this scene. Father! The next time he goes back, he'll discover how the White Walkers were defeated the first time, but he'll end up becoming Bran the Builder and build the wall. So when Bran realizes he effed that up, this theory says he'll go even further back to attempt to stop the Children of the Forest from creating the Night King in the first place. That would definitely explain why only the Night King can see Bran.
Doing his work thing.
So, if Bran's really the Night King, why is the Night King evil? That's the part I really don't get, but apparently he just gets bitter with time and ends up resenting the children for creating him and getting stuck behind the wall that he himself built as Brandon the Builder. Plus, one of the teasers for the upcoming season features all the Stark children, except Bran, and then cold air rushes in and people apparently think this means Bran is the Night King, which makes no sense. Clearly, I don't buy it, but please feel free to yell at me about why I'm wrong in the comments. A theory I find way more likely is that the Night King is just a Stark. Not Brandon Stark, but just a Stark. I mean, it makes sense. The Starks are descendants of the First Men and have been in the North since the Age of Heroes, meaning their ancestors were around when the Night King was created. And in the books, Old Nan told Bran that a legendary figure named Night's King, who was known for marrying a corpse queen beyond the wall, was a Stark named Brandon. Before you get too excited, we gotta clarify that the Night's King and the Night King are not the same person, so don't let that confuse you. But the legend of the Night's King does provide a stronger connection between House Stark and the original White Walker himself. Add that connection to the connection between present-day Bran and the Night King and the Stark's very obvious family motto.
Winter is coming.
So make of it what you will. On the literal opposite end of the spectrum, some think that the Night King could be a Targaryen. White Walkers can walk through flames.
Fire cannot kill a dragon.
And the Night King can ride a dragon, which you can't do unless you have dragon's blood. But the dragon technically is dead, so I don't really know if that applies here. Plus, the Targaryens didn't even come to Westeros until after the Age of Heroes and the Age of the Andals, i.e. they weren't around when the Children of the Forest created the Night King. Some crazy people think he's actually Rhaegar Targaryen, but the timeline with that makes no sense, and I'm sorry, but I do not have the mental energy to devote to that right now. Pretty much everyone seems confident in the theory that the Night King is a Greenseer, and it would definitely explain some of the things we saw in Season 7. In case you didn't already know, a Greenseer is a warg that has the green sight, or the ability to dream of things that happen in the past, present, and future. Bran is a Greenseer, and as was the Three-Eyed Raven before him. If the Night King was a Greenseer, it would explain why he could see Bran during his dream, much like how the Three-Eyed Raven interacted with Bran during their lessons together. People also speculate the Night King's green sight is why he seemed so prepared for his encounter with Jon Snow and his comrades north of the Wall. With green sight, he could see into the future, assemble his men in a way that he could perfectly trap Jon and co., all with the intent to keep them there until Dany showed up with her dragons, one of which he was prepared to kill and recruit to his army of the dead. He could also just have really good luck, but the Greenseer thing definitely seems more legit. And this seems way more plausible than Bran actually being the Night King. Multiple people can be Greenseers. And finally, my favorite theory explains the reason the Night King is even attacking the South. The theory goes that the Night King is returning because the human race has broken a pact that was made to end the Long Night thousands of years ago. For this to be true, that would mean that there's no legendary last hero or Azor Ahai figure who defeated the White Walkers and sent them back north. Instead, the last hero would simply be a diplomat who negotiated a treaty with the Night King in which he and the White Walkers remained safely in the north as long as humanity promised to leave them alone and never use fire magic against them, which are things like dragonglass or Valyrian steel. The Night King also wanted a regular human sacrifice. And so the wall was built, not by Brandon the Builder, but by the White Walkers to protect themselves and seal off their territory. I guess it was so protective that even they couldn't penetrate it? Anyway, the theory continues that the pact was sealed by a marriage between the Night's King, the ancient Stark we mentioned earlier, and a female White Walker. Yikes. I guess it was a happy marriage though, because he made lots of human sacrifices with her to the White Walkers. If this is true, it would make sense with the show's timeline of events. At the end of season 1, Dany's dragons are born. In season 2, the Red Comet alerts everyone, including the Night King, that fire magic has returned. And that's when the Night King assembles his army of the dead and begins his march on Westeros. Craster and his daughter wives were also the last wildlings to honor the human sacrifice portion of the treaty. And when Craster died, the treaty was officially dead too. This theory ultimately gives the White Walkers real motivations and explains why they spare small players like Craster. The White Walkers simply want to find a balance between things again, like a song of ice and fire.
7 hells.
Many think Jon is a key player in achieving that balance. He himself is a Song of Ice and Fire, being both Targaryen and Stark. It's even speculated that he will become the new Night King and help negotiate peace once again. If that happens, I'm totally in that Dany will be a new corpse queen the Night King has to marry, aka a union of ice and fire. Plus, Dany has been down to marry for alliances in the past, so...
You need to stop.
What do you guys think about these theories? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to drop any of your own down there too. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you're the first to know how right or wrong these theories are. Until then, we'll keep you updated on all other Game of Thrones Season 8 news here at CinemaBlend. Unless Bran Stark becomes a Night King and I'm out.